How to shock the narcissist to their core. Our channel aims to provide compassionate support for those recovering from narcissistic abuse. The road to healing often involves establishing boundaries against manipulation. Though simple self-protection may shock narcissists, our goal is never to harm them. This channel does not condone vengeance or retaliation, which only breeds more pain. Instead, we offer guidance to help you reclaim your freedom with integrity. When we focus inward, taking steps each day to rebuild our self-worth independently, we indirectly build shockwaves. Every courageous stride on your journey will likely stir the stagnant waters in ripples beyond what you can see. But take heart. Each small act of reclaiming your inner light illuminates the path for other abuse survivors as well. Though narcissists may initially recoil from your bold strides toward the light, who knows, some inner part obscured far beneath may yearn for it too. As you watch this video, you will gain strength and may inadvertently shock narcissists through simple acts of self-care. However, remember that narcissists tend to retaliate when injured. So be sure to also watch our video, Narcissists' 5 Reactions When You Have Hurt Them and How They Will Punish You, after viewing this one. The link is in the description of this video. Arm yourself with knowledge of their predictable responses. Self-protection is not vengeance, it is wisdom. Focus inward on your growth while anticipating cycles that may follow. Becoming whole requires understanding the brokenness too. Each insight makes you stronger. Now, what specific actions tend to shock narcissists to their core inadvertently on our journey to recovery? Though not our intent, withdrawing participation they relied upon delivers profound shocks to narcissists. Rejection. Nothing shakes a narcissist more than being rejected by their target. Narcissists have an inflated sense of self, believing themselves to be irresistibly charming and attractive. They view other people as mere objects to be acquired and controlled in order to support their grandiose fantasies. As such, they expect their targets to fall willingly under their spell, satisfying their endless need for validation, praise, and control. When you start to pull away, refusing to play into their manipulation and games, it sends their world into a tailspin. They are baffled as to why you would reject them, when in their minds, they are clearly superior beings that everyone should automatically adore. This blatant rejection terrifies the narcissist, as it surfaces their deepest insecurities under that smooth facade. For example, a woman was married to a narcissistic husband for 10 years. From the beginning, he love-bombed her, overwhelming her with flattery, expensive gifts, and promises of an idyllic life together. But soon after marrying, he began putting her down, controlling her every move, and cutting her off from family and friends. Feeling lonely and miserable, she found the courage to ask him for a divorce. Shocked that his once doting wife was now rejecting him, he scrambled desperately to convince her to stay, even promising to change his ways. But she saw through the manipulation, refused to back down, and fled for divorce. He raged, claiming no one would ever love her like he did. The rejection had punctured his inflated ego, reflecting back his deepest fear, that he was unlovable. Surprise them. Narcissists depend heavily on predictability in order to maintain their facade of being in control. They orchestrate situations meticulously to their advantage by deploying manipulation tactics tailored specifically to elicit expected reactions from their targets. Their ability to calculate and predict responses is key to gaining leverage and power over others. When you surprise them with unexpected behavior, you are puncturing huge holes in their carefully controlled narrative, exposing the fragile ego hiding behind the curtain. Unanticipated reactions baffle the narcissist, as they reveal there are facets of the target's inner world that elude their grasp. Whether it's remaining unfazed by something that normally upsets the target, calling them out on bad behavior, or acting counter-intuitively positive in the face of their hostility, the target's unpredictability throws them off and stops them in their tracks. It also delivers the devastating message that they do not know or control the target nearly as well as they thought. This lack of complete control over the target threatens their entire worldview and sends them into a panic. For instance, a woman was married to an abusive narcissist who controlled her every move, convinced she couldn't survive without them. During yet another rage-filled rant, the woman shocked her spouse by smiling calmly and suggesting they go grab dinner at their favourite restaurant. The narcissist was left speechless, stammering that the woman should be cowering in fear from the abuse, not asking them out on a pleasant dinner date. The surprise move exposed the theatre of control the narcissist had created, revealing their venomous words held no real power over the woman anymore. Their relationship dynamic shifted dramatically from that point on, with the narcissist walking on eggshells, no longer able to predict their target's reactions. Discard them. There is no injury more devastating to a narcissist than being left first by their significant other. Narcissists see themselves as superior beings entitled to have their needs met on demand by those in their lives. They handpick targets who they deem as useful sources of endless narcissistic supply. Things like money, status, attention, admiration, and sex flow from their targets to satisfy their enormous egos. In return, the hapless targets receive only crumbs of conditional love and shallow affection. Narcissists truly see themselves as the catch in the relationship. So when you turn the tables, reclaiming your power and ending things abruptly on your terms, it pulls the proverbial rug out from under the narcissist's grandiose self-image. Accustomed to toying with others' emotions through cycles of idealization and devaluation, they are shocked when they find themselves on the receiving end for once. Now they are the ones left reeling from rejection, confusion, and powerlessness. Feelings they believed lesser people like you experience, not superior beings like themselves. Many desperately try to hoover their partners back, or launch extensive smear campaigns in order to soothe their battered ego and regain a sense of control. For example, a woman was married to a narcissistic husband for 12 years. She tolerated his chronic affairs, indifference and verbal attacks throughout their marriage because of his frequent love bombing and hollow apologies after abusive episodes. When she uncovered yet another affair, something snapped inside her. She realized with stark clarity that he would never change. Without a word, she packed her bags that night and moved across the country, blocking him on everything without even officially filing for divorce yet. She soon received hysterical voicemails and texts from him, begging her to call him so they could work things out. He barraged her with proclamations of love and promised the world if she came back. The woman held strong, leaving him reeling in shock that his faithful supply source saw through his lies and wanted nothing more to do with him. Prove them wrong. One of the hallmark traits of narcissism is an inherent sense of intellectual superiority and self-righteousness. Narcissists truly believe their thought processes and beliefs reflect the highest truth in any given situation. Even when presented with clear evidence contradicting their stances, they find ways to dismiss and invalidate anything that threatens their ironclad grip on being right. It's imperative for them to uphold this external image of infallibility in order to prop up their grandiose false self. Given this intense need to be validated, having their opinions or statements directly challenged by someone they consider beneath them sends tremors to their very foundation. If you can dismantle their arguments using reasoning backed by evidence, it crumbles the platform they stand upon marked Smarties to one here. For this reason, proving a narcissist wrong with indisputable facts is one of the most threatening things you can do. And when the challenge comes from their victim who was supposed to be meek and subservient to their immense knowledge, the shock burns especially deep. For example, a narcissistic boss was notorious for taking credit for others' work and shutting down anyone who dared to call him out directly. In one meeting where he was proudly presenting a proposal that a co-worker had actually written, the co-worker calmly complimented specific unique elements she had incorporated, knowing the boss could not possibly take credit for them himself. She even politely offered to forward earlier draft versions to validate authorship further. The narcissistic boss fumbled with his words under the scrutiny and quickly ended his presentation, his facade of originality shattered. Everyone knew the co-worker had expertly and strategically called out his fraudulence with grace. The narcissist boss learned not to mess with her again. Withhold reactions. Narcissistic supply comes in many forms, but one of the most potent supplies is the emotional reaction they invoke in others, whether positive or negative. They are emotional vampires, feeding ravenously off of the anger, fear, sadness, shame, and even temporary joy that pours out of their victims. They purposefully provoke and stir the pot perpetually in order to manufacture their favoured supply. When you go no contact emotionally and refuse to get sucked into their drama cycles, it snatches away their sustenance. Suddenly faced with no supply at all, they are like an addict going through brutal withdrawal, desperately seeking their next fix of drama and chaos. With no ammunition left to emotionally hijack the target as usual, they have lost their prime source of power. At first, most normal people would welcome peace after so much turbulence, but narcissists interpret peace as losing the battle for control and exploitation rights. So they will push buttons even harder, trying to elicit some emotional reaction to take advantage of. For instance, a man was emotionally abused by his narcissistic girlfriend for 2 years. She routinely picked fights over trivial things, provoking his anger so she could play victim. After discovering her narcissism, the man decided to go no contact for his sanity. The next time she tried baiting him into an argument, he responded by calmly stating his boundary. She continued pressing multiple times, trying to ignite a reaction to no avail. The man had neutralized her tactics by withholding the reaction she desperately craved. Thrive independently. Narcissists project many of their own worst fears and insecurities onto the people around them. 2 of their biggest fears are abandonment and inferiority. After eroding the target's self-esteem using criticism and control, the narcissist can point to the target's dependency as proof they are superior. The target buys into the narrative over time that they are lucky to even be in the narcissist's presence. When the target finally cuts ties and starts truly healing and thriving independently, it pulls the rug out from the narcissist. Here is the supposedly helpless target, building their own life and succeeding without the narcissist. The target's victories contradict the narcissist's assessments. Their confidence and vibrancy may attract new potential partners. The narcissist relies on keeping targets contained under their influence indefinitely. The target's existence as a survivor contradicts the narcissist's capability assessments and threatens their control. Many narcissists sabotage targets indirectly or undermine their confidence to maintain control. They may also hastily rush into new relationships to prove they weren't dependent. For example, a woman escaped her narcissistic and abusive ex-husband after enduring years of subtle manipulation that isolated her from family and friends. After establishing herself independently, the woman blossomed. She made new friends, advanced her career, traveled, and began dating a loving new partner. She occasionally saw her narcissistic ex, perpetually unemployed and alone, the shock evident on his face seeing her transformation. He tried convincing others she was struggling without him, but the reality was clear. She flourished free from his abuse. Show kindness. Narcissists see the world as ruthless competition for dominance where the cunning survive. They view relationships as transactional, constantly maneuvering for position to exploit targets to serve their agenda. Concepts like compassion and empathy do not compute. They see kindness as weakness asking to be exploited. So when abuse victims somehow emerge still capable of kindness, forgiveness, and compassion, it disturbs narcissists greatly. They react either with seething envy or dismissive contempt, assuming the target is being foolish or faker. Either way, continued humanity by someone they tried to destroy shocks narcissists. The target's existence proves trauma does not have to breed more darkness. They become a beacon signaling to perpetrators there is a path back from devastation, if they choose to find it. Each compassionate act is an arrow targeting the lies that people are selfish and hopeless. The power of kindness exposes the emptiness behind the narcissist's threats. Even if the narcissist scorns the target's humanity, deep down, their light shatters the narcissist's view of human nature. For example, a woman survived decades of horrific abuse by a narcissistic cult leader. She fled after finding courage, began processing her trauma. Years later, she learned her former captor had fallen ill with few resources in old age. Despite ample reasons for vengeance, she felt incredible empathy for her once tyrannical leader. She sent him regular care packages and cash gifts anonymously for years. Her stunning altruism toward someone who sought to destroy people rattled his reality profoundly.
In summary, withdrawing participation delivers profound shocks to narcissists. Denying control, starving supply, dismantling narratives, thriving independently, offering undeserved kindness conveys that the target is far more than the narcissist assumed. Each act of reclaiming freedom and self-worth crumbles the foundations underlying malignant narcissists, revealing the authentic self that persists.